All right, well, this is my first attempt at doing this, so hopefully this goes without a hitch. So this is the recorded self of section 2.1. First problem is number 9. It says to plot the points and label each point with the indicated letter. So looking up the plot points here, I see 304254, yada yada yada, continues on. The max I see for both the x and y axis is going to be 6 and 6. So I've got my handy dandy graph paper here. I'm going to get my ruler. Well, I suppose first I'm going to label this so we know which problem this is. So this is number 9. So I'm going to go up 7 points on each one just to give myself some extra room because sometimes I make mistakes. And that's not good. There we go. Hopefully you can still see this. So we're just going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that's going to be our halfway point. And we're going to go down 7 more. Darn it. So the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I'm going to do the same for the x-axis that I just did for the y-axis. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One more time. My ruler wants to work here, would be great. 7. Okay. It's not the prettiest, but it will do the job here. So the first point that I need to plot, it says for A. So this is the y-axis here, and this is the x-axis. So the first is A. I'm going to write that over here. And that is 3 over 0. So since x and y are kind of given to us, we know our first point is going to be x followed by y. So we're going to go on 3 to the right since it is positive. So 1, 2, 3. So that's on our x-axis here. For our y-axis, it's 0, so we do not need to go up or down, so it stays there. So we're going to put a point. I think that's what it was. Oh, label. So we're going to put A. Now, just to kind of speed things up here, I'm just going to go ahead and continue to write the rest of the points here. So for letter B, the problem asks for us to point or graph 4 and 2. C, which is a horrible C, is going to be 3 and 5. D is going to be 6 and 6. Am I giving myself enough room? Yes, I should have enough room. E is going to be the equivalent to 3 and negative 4. F is 3 and negative 3. G, I don't know why, but my G's look like 6s, and I have tried to fix that, so I apologize ahead of time. It's 3 and negative 2, and H is 3 and negative 1. So as I mentioned before here, these are all my X points, these are all my Y, so I'm just going to follow along. So A is done. So letter B, we're going to be 4 and 2. So 4 on the axis, on the x-axis, I apologize. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we need to go up 2 since it is positive. So 1, 2. I'm going to put a little dot there, and we're going to label that as B. Now we just continue on here. So for letter C, we're going to go to the right 3, so 1, 2, 3, since it's still positive, and we're going to go up, and I just did all that wrong, did I? Son of a biscuit eater, I just did. So I got my point wrong, so give me just a second to refix that and I'll get right back. Okay, I am back. Thankfully it was just letter C that I had wrong, so we're gonna just go back here and make sure. So 5 and 4. So we're gonna go over 5 on the x-axis. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're going to go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 on the y-axis. It's going to be C, then D. Same thing, since these are still positives, we're going right and up. So over 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then up 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Of course, my workspace is limited as well, so I will do my best here. Now, for our letter E, we have 3 and negative 4. So we're going to go over from here from 0, from the middle of the graph. We're going over 3 points, 1, 2, 3. However, since negative 4 is obviously a negative, we need to go down on the y-axis. So going up is positive, going down is negative. So we're going to go down 4 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to label that as E. And then we are going to go to number F. So positive 3, so 1, 2, 3 to the right. And double check that I wrote the right ones this time, and I did, so we're good. So now we're going down 3, 1, 2, 3. This is F. G, so I kind of see the pattern here, so we're going over right, 1, 2, 3 again, and then now we're going down to 1, 2. So that's going to be G. And then H, we're going to go over 1, 2, 3, since it's a positive still. Just to kind of verify there. Sorry, as I mentioned, my workspace is limited. And down 1. So that's going to be H. So, I don't know exactly what line that is, but that is the answer, as I mentioned, our positive x-axis here. So this is positive, that's negative. Y-axis, positives going up, negatives going down. Pretty straightforward. Now, moving on to question number 13. Okay, so for this one, I need to scale again and plot the points. So since I've got quite a few here, I have negative 75 and 5, negative 18 and negative 2, and then 9 over negative 4. I'm going to quickly just make a quick graph, and then I'll explain what I did with my graph here in just a moment, just to save some time. Alright, so I am back after I made my graph here. I have my y-axis going up and down, x-axis going from left to right. So, since I'm trying to make this as close to scale as possible, I had to kind of mix around here since I only have a limited amount of graph paper and I don't want to just throw away paper. So, for my y-axis here, I'm just going to go by the points here, so it's only positive 5, negative 4, 1 should be, quite enough here. My x-axis, though, is going to be a little bit different, as my first number is negative 75, followed by negative 18, and then a positive 9. So I'm going to go on the x-axis, each little line here as 10, or negative 10, just the number 10. So I'm just going to mark these here. Of course, this is 0 in the middle. If I had more graph paper, I would do this a little different, but I'm just going to utilize what I've got here. So our first plot is negative 75, so we've got negative 10, negative 20, negative 30, negative 40, negative 50, negative 60, negative 70, and negative 80. So I'm going to put that there. So kind of halfway through the negative 70 and negative 80 is going to be 75. Now we're going to go up 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we're going to go up 5 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Roughly right about there is where our point should be. Going to our next one is going to be negative 18. So, of course, on the x-axis, we're going back. So 10, 20, so roughly right around here, we could say. However, we need to go minus 2 on the y-axis. So I forgot to label these, so let me label this real quick. Okay. So x-axis, again, negative 18, so 10, 20, so roughly like I mentioned, right about there. And then we're going to go down 2 lines. So 1, 2, so negative 2. So our plot point is negative 18 minus 2. Now for our last one, we have a positive 9 followed by a negative 4. So once again, here on the x-axis, going to the right is positive. So this is going to be 10, 20, 30, and continue on. But honestly, since I'm trying to utilize what I have as far as space, I am going to just stick to in increments of 10 on the x-axis here. So 9 is going to be roughly close to like right near the 10. Now for our y-axis, or y-axis, excuse me, we're going down 4 spaces. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So roughly right there, give or take, is our point, and I believe the problem said to then, let's see, just plot the points, skills. Nope, I don't think I need to draw a line, but anyways, if I needed to draw a line, I'm just going to kind of do a quick one here. It's going to be kind of like this. So slope would be negative, though I don't think we need to know that right at this exact moment in time. Alright, so our next problem is number 37. I don't think there's any more graphing. Nope, so we are determining whether each ordered pair is a solution to the given equation. So for 37, the points that we are given, I have to move down a little bit. I'll move this down just a smidge. Let's do this in pen so I can see this a little bit better. I know the pen is frowned upon in math, but sometimes I just break the rules. So 6 and negative 2 are my points, and the equation is R as in Robert minus S as in Sam equals 4. So we are going to plug in 6 and negative 2. So with any algebra, we are following alphabetical order when it comes to variables. So in this case, since R and S is what we are given, R and S is what we're going to continue on over here for our points. So R and S. So our equation is going to look something like this. So it's going to look like 6 minus negative 2 equals 4. Now notice I put the negative 2 in a parenthesis just so I remember that it is a negative. I know some people, and I believe you, Joseph, like to use... Give me a second here to get my calculator. There we go. That you like to just say this is plus. I don't like switching things personally because then it just messes me up. So I just follow the equation as normal. So I'm going to do it as 6 minus 2 negative on my calculator, which is the equivalent to 8 equals 4. And obviously that is not true. 8 does not equal 4. So this is false. I forget what also it's called from the last class I took, but I'm just going to do it as you did this semester. Put false, not a solution. Alright, and our last problem is number 50. So we got a little bit more graphing here, so I'm going to make a line here, and I should have enough graphing paper for this. And Okay, so the equation that is given is y equals negative 3x plus 1. I'm going to write this in the top so I don't forget it and not choose the wrong one as I've done before on accident. Y equals negative 3x. And this is number 50, just making sure 3x plus 1. Alright, so we are going to create our t-table over here on the left side, since, as I mentioned before, I am trying to utilize as much space as I have. So I'm going to do x and y. And as mentioned in the lesson before and what I have learned before, we get to choose the x point. So I'm just going to start off with negative 3, just because that looks like a good number here. So negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. That should be more than enough. So moving over here to our side here, we are going to actually then punch in x for what our x equals here. So the equation is going to follow as y equals negative 3 times a negative 3 plus 1. So a negative 3 and a negative 3 is going to be a positive 9. And then we bring down the variable and the 1. So our answer for our y point for this, is y equals 10. So we go over here and I'm going to put 10. So then I'm just going to go ahead and continue on here. So just to save a little bit of time, I'm just going to go ahead and work out these problems. Then I will show how I did these problems, and then I will make the graph. All right, I am back. So all I have done over here, just a quick refresher, the x points here that I'm going to plot, I kind of just made up myself. So I just went to negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, and 3. So of course we have to plug in, or I have to plug in what I chose for my x plot into the formula here. So moving over here, I'll kind of quickly go over what I did here. So for my first equation, it was y equals negative 3, which is our negative 3 here. In parentheses, I put what my x coordinate was, so negative 3. So y equals negative 3 times a negative 3 plus 1. As we know, a negative times is a positive, so y equals 9 plus 1. Finish the equation there. 9 plus 1 equals 10, so y equals 10. So that is what I put for my first y coordinate. And then just moving on down, y equals negative 3 times negative 2 plus 1, which I got to 6 plus 1, so y equals 7. Of course, I'm just carrying this down, and I'm just trying to conserve room on the graph paper here so I don't have to use another piece or throw this piece away. Save the trees. So continuing on is negative 1 for my x-axis here, for x-coordinate, I should say. So y equals negative 3 times negative 1 plus 1. So negative 3 times negative 1, of course, the negative times negative is going to be positive, so it's a positive 3 plus 1. So the answer is, for my y-coordinate is 4, so 3 plus 1 is 4. Now, this is where it's a little tricky, because now we have 0, so y equals negative 3 times 0 plus 1, so anything times 0 is just going to be 0, so our answer is y equals 1. So those two just kind of cancel out. That is 1. Moving on, I am then going to put positive 1 in the x coordinate spot here in my equation. So y equals negative 3 times a positive 1 plus 1. So since we have a negative times a positive, it is going to be a negative. So it's negative 3 plus 1, which it comes down to negative 2. So it's basically like just adding 1. Pretty simple arithmetic. So y equals negative 2. That's what I got for my y coordinate. Moving on down, y equals negative 3 times 2 plus 1. So negative 3 times a positive 2, sorry if I mentioned negative, is going to equal to negative 6 plus 1. So y equals negative 5 as my y-coordinate. And last but not least, I'm going to plug in positive 3 where x is supposed to be. So negative 3 times a positive 3 plus 1 is equivalent to negative 9 plus 1. So y equals negative 8. So coming back over here, the trend is in 3s. So of course, we're ones here, so -3 to +3 starts off on our y coordinate as +10, 7, 4, 1, -2, -5, -8. So it decreases by 3 there. So I'm going to now plot this graph. So give me just a moment here, and we're going to start. Okay, so I need at least up to 10 on my y-axis, since that is our highest number, while -8 is our lowest number. So I'm going to go to about 12 just to make it even. Our x-axis is not too bad here, so this is where I'm going to need to pull this back a little bit because I have a very limited room here. Start off here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12. Oh, no, this is where and then we're going to go down 12. 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Perfect. So that's our y-axis there. I'll kind of zoom it out a little bit. I apologize about the light. So there's that. And then for our x-axis, most is 3, so I'll just go to 5 or even 6 just for the heck of it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Fun fact, I have had this ruler since high school, so it pays to not throw things away. I'm glad I kept this because I never thought I would need this. So going back to over here, so our first plot points is going to be -3 and 10. So since these are all by 1, I'm not going to label them just because I don't have much room here, just so you know. So for our x-axis, since it is a negative, we are going behind 3 spaces. So 1, 2, 3 to the left, but up 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're going to put that there, and then we're just going to continue down the list here. So going from left to right, -2, 2, going up 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, here, and then -1, and then +4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Since x is 0, it remains at the middle of the graph here, but we need to go up by, that is a +1, yeah. Up by 1. Now, it's going to kind of flip, so our x-axis, or our x-coordinate on the x-axis is going to start off with 1, so we're going to go to the right 1, and then we're going to go down -2, or 2 lines. So 1, 2, and then continuing, so over 2, since it's a positive, then down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then one more time, +3, 3, and then down 8. 3, 4, 5, 8. And then if we were to draw a line here, no, this is not going to be perfect since I'm trying to utilize my time here on this video. We'll just turn out pretty good. So slope is negative, I believe, if I remember right. So that is how the line should look. Let me kind of flip this around a little bit. So that is what y equals -3x plus 1 looks like when it is graphed to scale. So that is all I have for this recording session. Professor, if you are not able to really see this, I hope you all should be able to, but if not, just kind of let me know. I will try to figure out something different for the lighting, but we'll just see how this goes.